Everything in my car becomes weightless, and light starts pouring in from every direction. He's walking past the doorway and suddenly stops and looks right at me. Huge black eyes. To think that one person could experience so much without losing their mind is really something. You will never think about aliens the same way again. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Penn, and you are listening to Aliens, Monsters, and the Supernatural, a true story of a terrorized life. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tales of the Supernatural and the Unexplainable. I have written a series of books explaining all the strange events in my life and the encounters with entities not of human origin. So this will be chapter 3. This chapter I go ahead and put together my few experiences that have nothing to do with aliens, and it's I really like these stories here. They're really interesting, and I experienced them, and as I read through them, I get the chills. It's I've noticed by reading these stories, I'm back to my nightmares again and experiencing strange things. The last video I put up, it was a very unusual night for me, but I do have videos and things. It's very common occurrence for me to keep on experiencing things. That's the way it's been my whole life. I'm just going to jump right into chapter 3 here. Maybe put some photos up on screen to make the story visually better. I've got a few sketches. Here we go. At times throughout my life, there have been multiple themes in my experiences. Some events I look back on have me dumbfounded even to this day. One event I often reflect on has no business standing alongside my encounters with aliens or the little monster. My father has always held an audience with me, especially as a child. My father was the provider and the guardian of the family, so when he took a moment from his busy life to engage with me, I always cherished it. I still cherish my father's wisdom and advice to this day. It is my father's image that has kept me grounded in my moments of doubt in the supernatural. Whenever I'm on the verge of not believing in life after death or anything to do with the spirit realm, I quickly stop that train of thought with the memory of my two fathers. All of my siblings are in their rooms. They have all gone to bed. My father is already asleep as well. I'm lying at the foot of the bed, diagonally across from him. The hallway is connected to the room. The light from the hallway is plenty enough light to see everything. My mother is in the bathroom. I fidget a little as I try to get situated to fall asleep. I decide to get under the covers for more comfort. I step down from the bed and reach for the cover. I flip enough cover back to expose the bed sheet, and I climb back into bed. I get my feet under the blanket and reach for the corner of it. I give my father one last glance. He is lying on his side with his back to me. He is in his briefs, sleeping above the covers. I look his way because movement catches my attention. But other than my father's lungs expanding and contracting his sleeping body, there's really nothing to see. Movement above my father redirects my attention. I am mentally taken back by what I am seeing. I look back down at my father. He's still lying there, his slow breaths creating a barely audible sound of snores. I look back up. Maybe 3 feet above his right shoulder, I am looking wide-eyed at my father's doppelganger. There is no mistaking the resemblance. My father is hovering above his sleeping body. He is not transparent. The only thing that appears supernatural is the fact that he is floating. The floating man I recognize as my father is sitting Indian style. He is wearing white socks and light-colored blue jeans. He has on a red flannel shirt. Over that is an old leather bomber jacket. The same bomber jacket my dad has worn for years. I watch the figure of my floating father as he turns his gaze from left to right. It's as if he is on guard, keeping a lookout for any unwanted dangers. I flip my gaze back to my sleeping father, then back to my floating father. 10 seconds has passed, and there have been no new developments. My floating father is still diligently rotating his head, slowly to the right and back to the left. I finally feel the fight or flight mode kick in. I choose the latter of the two choices. I take a handful of covers and snap my tiny body backwards to the bed. The blanket presses against my face. I pull it over my head as tight as my little arms will allow. I wait a couple seconds. With the ultimate protection of a blanket over me, I have the courage to peek out from under it. I see my floating father. He is doing the same thing and hasn't moved. My sleeping father wakes and changes position. The movement causes me to play turtle with my blanket. I peek from the covers again, but my floating father is gone. My mother is coming into the room now for bed. I scan the room and see nothing out of the ordinary. I'm so frightened by these events, I forgo starting at the foot of the bed tonight and jump straight between my parents. I watch above my father's shoulder as I fall asleep. I have no idea what I just experienced would have a profound effect on my entire life. I have never experienced anything like that a second time. My spiritual beliefs have taken many paths over the years. The experience of seeing two of my fathers share the same space has many times been the thread holding atheism away from me. The moment has held great meaning to me. Even if I will never understand it in this life, I cannot say my whole belief system rests on that moment. There is another experience that at times has had the same effect. I am not in school yet, so I spend a lot of the day playing in the house alone. My mother is usually cleaning or watching soap operas. I am in the back room of the little farmhouse. There is a stairway entrance in the room that leads up an old set of stairs. An old wooden plank door separates the stairs from the room I'm playing in. There is a loft at the top of the stairs and a room next to the loft. The room was my oldest sister's before she married. Now it belongs to another sibling. No one likes sleeping up there, and I don't blame them. I sit on the bottom step playing with my toy cars. Silence is chased away by the sound of my oldest brother and sister upstairs. They are laughing and seem to be having a good time. There is no way I would go upstairs alone. I have a theory the thing that taunts me in the night lives in the attic crawl space. I reach to open the stairway door. It's huge in comparison to me. I have to give the door a hard tug to jar it loose from the door frame. The door wobbles and contorts as it creaks open. I look up the stairs. Everything is bathed in daylight from the loft windows. There are walls on either side of the staircase. The right wall reaches the ceiling. The left wall stops at the floor of the loft. I can see the thin metal safety railing at the edge of the loft. I hear my two oldest siblings laughing and playing. It sounds like they are on the other side of the railing, sitting close to the edge of the loft. I am confused by this. I haven't seen my sister in a while. My sister lives with her husband now, and my oldest brother Koki is at school. I hear a little chick start to make chirping sounds. Koki's voice comes from behind the loft railing. "Oh, it's a baby chick," he says. My sister's voice responds to Koki's comment. "It's so cute. Come and see, Brandon." I go up 2 steps. The sound of the baby chick fills the loft. My brother and sister keep repeating similar things as the chick makes plenty of noise. "Oh, it's so cute. Come on, Brandon. Come and see." I stretch my neck to try and see over the edge of the loft floor. I go up another 2 steps. I'm not scared, just confused. I feel if I can just get high enough on the stairs, I can look into the loft and see them. They keep telling me to come up and see the baby chick. I'm almost halfway up the stairs now. Just a little more, and I can probably see them. My mother's voice comes from the other end of the house. "Brandon!" she yells. I turn and look down the stairs. The chirps from the chick stop. I take a step down. I need to see what my mother wants. I hear my brother say, "No, don't go. Come up here." My mother yells for me again, "Brandon!" I take another step down. My body jolts and goes rigid. I'm startled by the sudden change in the voices. Not only by the sound of the voices changing, but their request changing to orders. I no longer hear the chick or my siblings. The innocent laughter has been replaced by an angry, menacing voice.
"No, get up here right now,"
the voice demands. I hold on to the handrail of the stairs, descending 1 step at a time. I want to run, but my shaking legs won't allow it.
"Get your ass up here,"
the voice demands again, this time seeming close behind me. Scared out of my wits, I push off the railing for momentum. I jump down the remaining steps and hit the door that is now closing. My little body hits the door with enough force to push it back open. The hinges screech as the door swings back against the downstairs wall. I hear laughter coming from upstairs. The sound is cringing. It's a mix between old hag and deep demonic. I see from the corner of my eye something big and dark. It's so tall it must be touching the ceiling as it stands at the top of the stairs. I don't take the time to look back. My legs are still trembling as I stand myself up. I'm not sure what causes it, but the door slams shut as I run off. Perhaps the entities just want to be thorough in their endeavors, ensuring I have properly crapped my pants. I run out of the back room into the kitchen. I look down the hall that connects the kitchen to what was my parents' room at the time. I see my mother sitting on the bed, broom in hand. It's obvious she has been cleaning. I catch her attention as I run towards her. "Are you okay?" she asks. I must have understandably looked the way I felt. "I'm okay." My words are winded. "Are the kids home from school?" I ask. "No, honey, it's still early. They won't be home for a while," she explains. I sit down on the floor next to her. I'm still a little shaken, but calming down as the seconds pass. I hear the television explain how the days of our lives are like sand through the hourglass. My mother tells me she will turn on cartoons and fix me a snack after her show goes off. Later that day, I watch from the porch as my siblings appear in the distance. It's a long walk from the bus stop to the house. As I see my oldest brother among them, it reminds me of earlier that day. As usual, I don't tell anyone of the events that unfolded. Maybe I experience so much that I think it's a common thing. Or maybe there is some unknown force that keeps me silent. I have so many memories of events and experiences stored in my mind. I currently keep a notepad on hand to jot them down as they come. I don't have to write much. Most of the time, a single sentence will suffice. Just a simple detail that will trigger the memory is all I need. There are those memories that have no need to be conjured. The memories that give me ponder again and again, unlike the memory of my two fathers that has helped to cement my faith in the supernatural. There is one that threatens my entire belief system. This event holds so much mystery to me, I carefully considered keeping it to myself and not making it known. I'm afraid, however, I cannot stay true to the mission of this book if I do not reveal all. The last two testimonies may be explained by the supernatural or a haunting. This next story, if ever explained, could possibly bring down every traditional belief of creation. In the grand scheme of things, this event may seem minuscule, and maybe it is. I, for one, see it as a possible key to understanding the fabric of life itself. In order to tell this particular story, I must jump ahead in time, a time when I was a few years older and in the 3rd grade. Jumping ahead in time seems like an ironic term to use for starting this story. As you read along, you will easily see why. It was not a typical day of 3rd grade at my small town school. The school is holding the yearly testing of students. Most students I know enjoy this time of year. We get the so-called royal treatment for taking a series of simple tests that have no pass or fail, we are told. I have just finished a small snack setting at my desk. These snacks would come randomly throughout the day. Our teacher, Miss Ken, is coming around with a small trash can to throw the wrappers in. I toss my wrapper in the trash and get situated to continue the test. Miss Ken explains to us the next phase of the test, and we begin. The room fills with sounds of paper flipping over on desk and pencils scratching at helpless paper. I start to fill in the first bubble of the answer section, only I apply too much pressure. The lead on my number 2 pencil snaps. I lift the pencil, taking a look at the damage. The pencil disappears with my entire class. My surroundings are replaced by a crowd of people I have never seen before. Simply put, I am stunned. I see people whom appear to be Hispanic. They are sitting around a large table with me. I have food in my mouth. It's a familiar taste, but I can't identify it. I look in my right hand and see a sandwich with a bite taken out. I continue to chew instinctively, taking in the moment. Cards lay on the table in front of me. They are about the size of postcards. The cards are covered with blocks. In the blocks of the cards are illustrations. The card directly in front of me has a crown in the bottom corner. The crown is red with gold lace. Laughter and celebration ignite at the table as I stare wide-eyed across it. I am still chewing the food in my mouth. I take another look at the sandwich. It appears to be a patty of some sort. Without notice, I am back in the classroom, staring at my pencil. There was no flashes of light or wormholes. It was like changing the channel on a TV. One moment I was watching my class. The next I was watching the unknown, a celebration of people I have never met. A boy from my class walks past me to the door. I wonder where he is going for a moment. As he leaves the classroom, my thoughts go back to my right hand. I stare blankly at the pencil in it. The broken lead is still connected to the pencil. My mind races, and I wonder about what just happened. I also cannot help but wonder, where did I go? Weeks pass. I have entirely forgotten the event. It's nothing but a memory now. A memory yet to hold any meaning. My family is meeting up with my aunt and her family. We are going to have dinner with friends of my aunt. The evening unwinds, and the three families under the same roof are having a splendid time. The family hosting the dinner is from Mexico, and they are sharing their heritage with a game. They bring out the cards to the game. The game is called Mexican Bingo. My aunt has played the game before, and she helps explain it. Each player gets a playboard. The playboards have blocks of illustrations. A card is drawn from a special deck. You place a bean over the block of your playboard that corresponds with the card drawn. The game was made more exciting by playing for money. You would purchase your way in a game by paying a dime or a quarter. The winner of the round would win the pot, which was typically $1 or $2. The evening progressed, and I found myself at the table playing Mexican Bingo. My mother comes from behind me and gives me a patty on 2 pieces of white bread. I take a bite out of the sandwich. As I pull the sandwich away from my face, I see the bite taken out. One might call this deja vu. However, I do not have time to consider it. Upon seeing the sandwich in my hand, the channel changes. I am now back in the classroom from weeks earlier. A boy in the class draws everyone's attention as he asks to use the bathroom. Miss Ken grants him permission, and he gets up to exit the classroom. I haven't had time to realize the gravity of events. I am more frightened than I am confused. I turn my gaze to my hand and stare at my pencil. I feel like I should play out events until this is over. Finally, the channel flip comes. Everything around me disappears in a fraction of a second, replaced by more present surroundings. I am relieved to be back among my new friends. I take a moment to reflect on what just happened. I gaze around the table and look at my sandwich again. I think about how horrible it would have been if I didn't come back. I wonder if it would have been possible for me to be trapped weeks in the past, or my past self to be trapped in the present. My wandering mind gives way to the night's festivities. I take another bite out of my sandwich and eagerly await the next bingo card to be drawn. I can say with positivity I have experienced deja vu too many times to possibly count. My personal definition of deja vu is seeing or experiencing something that you had previously dreamed. I bring this up because the third grade event cannot be written off as deja vu. During the moment I was taken to another place, I was actually there. I could feel, see, smell, hear, and interact with the environment around me. The closest thing to an explanation I can give myself for this event is my life may already be laid out in front of me. The moment was possibly a short circuit in the fabric of time and space. In that moment, my soul shorted out between 2 points in time. As I explained earlier, I fear I will not have answers to some of these events I have experienced. At least not in this life. I am sure for years to come, I will still be pondering the moment I defied space and time. I do not think lightly of the event or think myself special for it. I do, however, believe it points out just how vulnerable we are as humans. It reveals that there is more going on behind the scenes of this life. You may not see the importance of such an event now, but I hope in time you can think about the time travel experience and know we have an unfathomable power governing over us. A power that perhaps let me experience what I did, so you might read about it on these very pages. The experience with my doppelganger father is vividly in my mind. I remember it, and obviously I know my father's face and image so well that even when I think back on it, I see him there. I actually seen my father floating above himself, and that is so, it's really something to think about. That it's very, what could it be? Now I know that a lot of my family, I know of 3 or 4 of my family members, distant, not immediate family, but cousins, aunts. I know of stories of them astral projecting, where they would make their spirits come out of their body, and they would walk around the house and stuff. So, I'm not quite sure about this. I've talked to my dad about it since I wrote the book, and my dad used to be into a lot of Indian stuff, but my dad has there's some really awesome stuff. Just recently, a few years ago, my dad experienced something incredible, like something that I would experience, while the whole family was around. He was sitting at the dining room table at my parents' house, and he seen like a portal open up in the dining room on the wall, and it was like a sunny day, a beautiful golf course type environment through these bushes that appeared, and he said, people were around the house. I think it was on like a holiday, like a Thanksgiving celebration. And, my dad, he doesn't drink or do drugs or anything. He doesn't do nothing. It wasn't something like that. With all of the stuff I experienced, I very much have no problem believing, my father's experience he was telling me about. And, he said he stood up from the table, and he walked towards this opening, this portal opening, and he could hear laughter and people playing and things. And he said just as quick as it appeared, it disappeared. And, he didn't tell no one about it. And which that's a thing. Like, I hardly ever told anyone anything about something when it happened. It's just something we keep to ourselves, these experiences. And the experience when I was a child, and I went upstairs, and I had, whatever this thing was trying to get me to come upstairs. And in my mind, in my heart, I believed that, the little monster would come every night. It would just come and stand beside the bed where I was. This was I don't remember any kind of peace that I got from that thing. And even after, we eventually left the farm, but, and that was, I don't know if whatever that entity was trying to get me upstairs or what, but it was very much in the middle of the day. And that experience will stick with me. It's a very wild experience. And, my sister experienced a lot. My oldest sister, the stories that she can tell, I'm telling you, they make my neck hairs stand up. I was just thinking about one, and I just don't even want to think about it. Maybe I'll tell that story on this channel. And then the time travel. That is, I have gotten home from work before in the afternoon and just sat outside in my vehicle, and here I am, we're talking about 20 years later, and I'm sitting in my car still thinking about that. Which, as of late, the past few years, the time travel type stuff is very potent for me. You know, I get flashes of the future a lot now, a whole lot. And but you know, as far as trading places, that has not happened with me older. I feel like now if I done it, I would react, you know. But when I have these visions of the future now, these future events, they are very different. You don't know that you're there. Like you're experiencing the event, you're doing everything. You're the one doing it, but all of a sudden you get taken back to the past, to where you came from. So it's very unique experience because you don't think to interact. You are just going along with what's happening when you're seeing the future, because there's some kind of amnesia there or something. You don't realize that you just came from the past. But you know, once you go back to the past, you kind of, it's kind of like just the channel flips and you're like, whoa, what just happened? It's a wild experience. But I've experienced a lot of things, as you will find out as we go along throughout this series. And, you know, I really want to thank you all for listening to my stories. And, you know, if you have any questions, let me know. I do have a really cool video that I got about a year ago. Just happened to, I knew something was going on outside. I was out walking the dog, and I happened to pull up my camera because I was videotaping what I was, you know, certain was a UFO. And then, you know, I seen something out of the corner of my eye run across the yard. And my brother, me and him, we share like a corner lot. But I actually didn't even realize it until I freaked out. I got the dog and I came back inside and I was looking back through the footage. And sure enough, you know, I got this thing on camera exactly how I talk about in my book, how they teleport. I caught this thing on camera teleporting from the sky onto the roof of my brother's house, and then the entities right there. And, you know, these things are very much interdimensional type. It's very bizarre to see them actually in transport like that, and to see how fast they move. It's really wild. But this video was a long one. That chapter was particularly long because I kind of wedged everything up together for those kind of one-offs experiences. And let's take a look. What is the next chapter? Yeah, I think that in the next chapter we're going to talk some more about the little monster. Oh yeah, that was a pretty scary event. Yeah, like I said, you know, the book is if you sit and read it yourself, it really is a real page turner, because it's, you know, my life. Once this stuff starts back with, you know, the first chapter 1, with that experience, it's like it was just constant until 4 or 5 years ago. About 4 years ago from now, that is when I first started experiencing some real peace. And, you know, that's the whole point of the story, to get to that point. And that's why I don't give away anything of my beliefs now or anything right now. But thank you all so much for listening. Truly, thank you so much. I'm going to try and get as much of this done as quick as possible. And I really hope you guys will subscribe to let me know that you're interested in the rest of the story, and that way you don't miss the rest of the story. Obviously, you can go and find my books, Brandon Penn, on Amazon. Aliens, Monsters, and the Supernatural, a true story of a terrorized life. Like, I don't make anything off of that. I'd very much rather for you to listen to this and get the story for free from the author. But like I said, you guys can go and find the book. It's on Amazon Kindle, and there's 2 in the series right now. I'm holding back on the 3rd one right now because I don't want the 3rd one to give away book 1 and book 2. So, but thank you all so much, and please like and subscribe. If you got any questions, just ask them in the comments. Obviously, thank you so much.